All right, Steven, I saw you arguing with Aiden the other day. How do you feel about that conversation? Was that productive? Did that get your blood flowing?
It was fun. I always like to knock people down a couple pegs who are arrogant as and aren't used to having people on them. So I enjoyed it.
So my big question about Aiden is how famous actually is he? Because I see his numbers. Like for example, I go to his Kick. According to Kick stats, his peak viewers in the past 30 days are 120,000 live, which I think would make him the biggest streamer in the world. Would it? I mean, that is a lot, right? Close to it, at least.
On Kick, yeah.
But I go to his YouTube channel, and he's getting like 100 to 200,000 views a video. So there seems to be a big sort of disparity there between the amount of people that are watching him live and the amount of people that watch him after the fact. And I feel like that's probably I mean, Aiden kind of alluded to this on stream as well, but is there some sort of bot thing going on Kick to this day that's like persistent?
Here's a lot of issues, okay? Ready? You can
Ready.
figure out how to weigh these appropriately. I don't know how to weigh these all appropriately, okay? Here's a lot of things to keep in mind, okay? Number one, right off the top, there is a lot of people that bot everything. It's ubiquitous in some of these communities, especially in communities with men with no honor or integrity who are desperately looking for clout and attention. So people like Sneeko, when you go on their Instagrams and you see that they've got like 3 million followers but like 8 pictures, it's probably because they deleted every other picture and they're paying to boost the engagement on every single one so that it matches their follower count. But the followers aren't generally real. They're not really that popular, right? You're gonna tell me that these people are like hitting like A-list celebrity penetration.
Is that not a form of like fraud? Because if they're getting advertisers and stuff, like let's say they do a sponsorship and the advertisers under the impression they're going to hit that many people, and it's all bots. I mean, couldn't these people be held legally liable if they're like just inflating their numbers?
No, because once the advertisers do 1 or 2 deals, they'll realize that it's all bullshit. Also, you can never prove that they actually botted it. They could just say, well, somebody else botted it, right?
Once again, I just don't understand the botting from like a long-term, sort of perspective. I mean, these people, Aiden Ross wants to have like a long career on YouTube or Kick, whatever.
Does he?
I assume. I mean, I think no.
Not to sound like mean or derogatory towards young people, because I know you're a fellow young person. But for a lot of these people, right, they only see like in like 3 to 4 year horizons, right? The idea of having a career spanning 10 plus years is kind of out of reach of most people. They're not even thinking about that.
Well, then what the plan B? Like, what is he going to do with himself?
Well, when you bot, you've got bigger numbers. It looks good, right? I don't want to be some loser on Twitter with like 200,000 followers. I want to have 1 million followers. So you bottom up, you look good, and then you tweet. And then more people see you with 1 million followers, and then you create like a... do you know what busking is?
No.
Sometimes you go out and play for money with a horn. You go out to the street, you play, you open your case, you throw in like 30 bucks on your own because when people see money in there, they want to donate more money. Yeah. And then they do... yeah, and I think streamers are the same. It's why they fake donos. It's why they bot engagement, because if you've got, one guy with 1,000 viewers and another guy with 10, you're going to watch a guy with 1,000 viewers, even if his real viewership is only 5. But like now he gets another real viewer because he's got the numbers. So a lot of people do that, I think. I know a lot of OnlyFans girls that do it, a lot of streamers that do it, yeah.
But eventually their real viewers are just going to run out within just a few years, and they're only going to be left with the bots. They're going to be, just at the bottom. I mean, even Aiden Ross, someone who, I'd say probably a year ago he probably peaked. He seems to be kind of on a downward trend now. Once again, like this guy is like way more famous than I am, right? Way more famous. His name alone carries a lot of weight. He has 4 million subscribers on YouTube. His channel is like doing the same as my second channel, which has like not even 300,000 subscribers. And I don't know if it's more difficult to bot on YouTube, so maybe that's why. But it just doesn't seem like there's as much interest in these guys. It seems like a lot of it is completely inflated, basically.
Maybe, but that's one aspect, was the botting part. A second aspect is viewership can be hyper-specific to certain types of platforms, and it's worth noting that as well. You could have somebody that legitimately has 5 million real followers on TikTok that have enjoyed TikTok things in the past, and either one, they've stopped watching because TikTok fans are very transient, they come and go, or two, they like watching the short form content on TikTok, but when this person posts YouTube videos, they get 5,000 views. And it might just be the fact that that audience doesn't translate very well from TikTok over to YouTube.
Well, TikTok is so fleeting. So obviously that's one example. TikTok is, like a 1 million views on TikTok may as well be like one person in a room watching you. Like most of those people probably just swipe past and clicked on your on accident. But if you look at the translation from, let's say, like a streaming site to YouTube, let's take someone like Asmongold, who is a pretty big streamer. You check his YouTube, things seem to check out, right? Someone like XQC, pretty big streamer. You check his YouTube, things seem to check out, and he's certainly doing way better than Aiden is. And that's across the board for all these guys. And then you have Aiden Ross, who, I mean, supposedly is getting an average of 50,000 viewers live, which I think is higher than both of the people I just named. And he's peaking at 120, 130,000 live, which is astronomical numbers. Like, I don't know. I don't know if most of the top streamers in the world ever hit that number. Like, he is so up there.
Yeah.
And yet you go to his YouTube and it's just dead. I mean, his Twitter is popping whenever he tweets once in a blue moon. I mean, his Instagram gets a bunch of likes, but he doesn't really post there much either. But then you go to his YouTube channel, and you'd think, like, even just the name Aiden Ross in the title should be getting, like, an unreal amount of views in my mind. I mean, at least a million a video, right?
Yeah, possibly. But then, again, there's two questions. One is we don't know how much of his other platforms are botted, number one. And then number two, it's still hard to tell how much of a carryover there is from his audience from one platform to the next, right?
I know it's hard to tell, but I know it should be more. I know it should be
possible. I wouldn't bank on that being incredibly obvious. I would say that. There were a lot of streamers that had 30, 40, 50,000 viewers that put almost no effort into their YouTubes. So you'd have people with 30, 40,000 concurrent viewers, and you check their YouTubes. I just checked Mizkiv's. He's pulling like 3 million views a month. That's not much.
That's
at all.
fair, but I mean, Aiden's team clearly. I mean, they're putting out like a half-hour to 40-minute video once or twice a week on his YouTube channel, so it's pretty consistent uploads, and it's every single one is with like a popular person. So it'll be like Aiden Ross goes on with iShowSpeed. iShowSpeed is super famous. You'd think that would do better. Only 300,000 views in 2 weeks. Another one with iShowSpeed, 250K in 2 weeks. Aiden Ross and Tfue. That one has 120K views. Aiden Ross visits Drake's mega mansion. Okay, Drake's house. 160K. Like it just doesn't seem to add up in my mind that these are the numbers these people are getting, and so I can only assume that Aiden Ross's name actually means way less to the average person than I initially thought, or maybe just than it did a year ago. Because even a year ago, I mean, his channel was doing way better. He was, averaging close to 1 million.
Sure, all possible things. And,
yeah. And I mean, maybe he's just completely fallen off. But I was also under the impression that he was popular, kind of not because of the red pill thing. I mean, he did come up with that, but I mean, he was popular before that for like LeBron James' sons or whatever, playing with him on GTA and all that stuff, hanging out with rappers, celebrities. I don't know, maybe Ice Spice twerked on him a little bit.
There's a big difference between views and engagement.
What do you mean by that?
I learned about this after I switched into my advertising role, that like we would go after influencers with millions of followers and even millions of views, and then we would look at the actual conversions on the back end, and there would be no sales. So one thing you could kind of look at to check, Destiny mentioned this a little bit before, was how many brand deals has Aiden had in the last 6 months? I think the number is 0.
Yeah.
Well, apart from Steak, I guess.
That doesn't count. Because essentially
wait, real quick. Does he even have a deal with Steak?
I mean, doesn't he gamble?
I don't know.
Him gambling is
yes, yeah, he does.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I do want to say, Devin, though, just to add to that, though. I mean, wouldn't you expect a streamer to have relatively high engagement relative to other people? Because
you would think so.
I mean, the audience is like the audience is like more loyal. They're all there, especially like Aiden, who's known to have like a super toxic, rabid fan base. Let me tell you a
tale. So we used to believe that the conversion from Twitch calls to action would be like, it would make sense, right? Like if Destiny right now shouts out my website, you would think like some people would hit it. So that's true. That'll happen, right? Like, for example, like we shouted out the website on the Scuff podcast. I think there was something like 90,000 viewers. I take issue with Kick's quotation marks view, so we could talk about that. But let's say there was 90,000. The website at that moment got 450 hits, right? So there is this initial push, and then that's what causes us to like psychologically say, oh, like we're getting way more audience on things like Twitch and things like that. But if you actually look at the distributed stats across like YouTube, Instagram, calls to action there, YouTube is on average about 18 times more effective. So if I tell you to do something in a video, like go here, buy this thing, this is the affiliate code, you're 18 times more likely to engage with that than you are on a live stream.
That's extremely surprising to me.
I know. I was blown away. I would not have believed that if I had not.
I would think it would be completely the inverse, because in my mind, like the amount of streamers I watch is so low that if I am watching them, I'm probably an actual fan of them, and I'm going to be more engaged with what they're doing, and it's more likely I'll buy one of their products. For YouTube, like I watch a lot more YouTube, and it's also more passive, so I'll watch it in the background. I'm not necessarily a fan of that person. It's just like, oh, I'll throw this on. And I thought that's how literally everyone viewed it.
Well, I think one of the things that Destiny was just saying too was the idea of a person in someone's head is different than like having a fan and being a fan of that person. So if you look at like, if you think of like an explosion, like the ground zero would be like your core base of fans. And then everything that goes out from that might be people that are like, oh, I've heard of that person, or I have like, you know, what we call impressions. Like I have an impression of that person, meaning like they're in my headspace, but I don't really know what they do. And so I think Aiden has been attached to a lot of big activations and big people, but he himself isn't like part of that core explosion. Like he does have a dedicated fan base, but like to your point and to Destiny's, I think it's not nearly as large as people think. Which is the case for most influencers, yeah.
Also, keep in mind that the way that people engage on certain products is a lot different too. If I were to do an ad and I were to try to sell my audience like a backpack or something, like maybe I'll get like 100 sales or something. It depends, I guess, on what kind of backpack specifically we're talking about. But even if I don't do a call to action, and even if I don't advertise a single thing, if I play like a new little indie game on my stream, I might have 500 plus fans that pick that indie game up because they see me playing it. So like the ways that audiences engage with like versus like somebody that does like a call to action on a YouTube channel about like history might say go play Lords Mobile. I think their conversion on that might be lower than if the products are more relevant to their audience as well. But
right.
Comparing Aiden Ross and Kai just seems so weird to me because for Kai Cenat, when he brings on like celebs and it's going to be like a funny time. It's going to be a funny experience. He's got like Kai, love him or hate him. You know, I said the screaming does, but he's like got a very boisterous, bombastic personality. It's fun to like watch him do. Aiden is like a charisma black hole. He legitimately looks like the kid that was 16 years old who would pretend to take like pictures of other boys' asses in the showers to pretend that he was gay, but then later on you would find out that he actually was gay and was getting off to it the whole time, but was too shy. Like that, I'm not serious. Like that's what Aiden Ross's whole personality to me seems like. He just doesn't seem like funny or interesting at all. He's just like this little giggly weird kid in the background. Whereas Kai, I totally get. I know why people watch him, even if I wouldn't watch it personally. I'm just trying to figure out like what are like the like what are some iconic streams he did, or like what are some things? Yeah, I'm just curious. Yeah, I'm legitimately asking.
The Keemstar moment. The Keemstar moment. Have you seen that? It's epic.
What Keemstar moment?
When Keemstar goes on a stream and he asks Aiden Ross about his crypto scam, and the entire room goes silent. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't actually.
Destiny, have you not seen that? I need to send you this. Hold on.
Well, I gotta say this. I gotta say this. With Kai pretty much took it to the next level. Like he does that Aiden did, but he does it way more consistently, and he doesn't do it in a way that's like distasteful to some. Because I'd say with Aiden, like he did a lot of
content creators of all time. Yeah,
100%.
Wait, who?
And I actually put Speed there. Kai, you said Kai.
Oh, okay.
I put Speed there as well. I put Speed there as well. Oh, even though like some people don't like Speed, I think those two guys. I don't watch them, but I also recognize the amount of work that they put in, especially Kai. This awesome. And Aiden did that. It's just that he did the gay jokes, which I think maybe you didn't like. That's why you didn't tune in. Like he does what Kai's doing today.
He's homophobic.
No, it's not. I don't. No. When I say gay jokes, I don't necessarily mean that like he's like listen, I love a good gay joke, okay? But I was saying it just seemed like his whole thing was just like sitting there making like really juvenile whatever jokes in the background, but he wasn't like adding much. Like, if I'm a big fan of Aiden, am I really excited to see Aiden collab with somebody else? Like, is there going to be some cool, interesting, unique things that come out of that?
No.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.